Hi, I'm Ian and I make stuff. Welcome down to my workshop. What we're going to be doing today is, well, what I'm going to be doing today is making a video for the first time in a long time. But what this video is going to be about is making a Lorica Segmentata. That's the metal strips and the big old pauldrons, the ones that you see basically anytime someone says Roman legionaries. This armor is referred to as a lamellar kind of armor. What it means is that we have a bunch of lames, which are those strips, coming together to make those really flexible shapes, kind of like a lobster's shell, where you have all these little different segments that are individually hard but can still fold around each other and sometimes slide over each other. We're going to be doing that one with ABS plastic, which is what I made this little test piece out of. Now, what I tried before was just using a bit of tubing, I think it's called sono tube. It's that cardboard tubing stuff. I don't really know what it's actually called. And it does a pretty decent job of making a decent curve to go around the sides here. So I use just a square. I found out what the center point was to the middle of my chest and where it is to the center of my rib cage here. Now, in order to make these lames with the right curvature, I had to make a tool. That's why I made this birdhouse looking thing here. It is basically just a chunk of wood with an arch on it with the appropriate dimensions. That is about 4.5-inch radius circle that I made across here, and I just squared off the bottom there. And the important thing was the side pieces here. Those are straight, so that when they come across my body, they'll come straight, and it'll make an oval when they meet up. I actually haven't taken this one out of the press yet, so I'm kind of hoping it works. So we'll take that apart right now. This was a relatively easy build. I just basically cut those V-shaped discs out and made a little stand for them. The only interesting part of it, I guess you'd call it, was making this shape on the outside here. I took the pieces of veneer, which is what this is all made of, just sheets and sheets of veneer, glued them onto the frame and glued them on top of each other in the curve and clamped them down as you saw. When I made the form, I decided on that much of a curvature. It's a lot more than actually into the 7.5 inch to the center of my chest. So that goes about here. So what I want to do, I'm going to take a bit of string, find the other side of it, and that's roughly the size that I need there. I'm going to take that piece of string and transfer that onto the plastic, and that'll be the length of the strips that I make. Those are probably going to end up getting shortened a little bit as we go further out, or maybe widened, because I've missed very few meals in my life. But yeah, so now we got to start cutting. And now we repeat that a whole bunch of times. Once I have all the pieces cut out, I'm going to sandwich them together with the clamps and use a Dremel rotary tool to grind some nice radiuses into the corners. I'm also going to use the Dremel to soften the edges. I'm going to soften the edge. No, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to use the belt sander. It's going to be way faster that way. Alright, just going to get this set up. Alright, and here we go. Anyway, yeah, I like to clean up the edges right now after they're cut. Just a light bevel on them just to take away any jagged or sharp edges that might cut the person who's wearing the armor. Next, I'm going to take it to the orbital sander. Just a little bit of a texture on there just to help it hold paint later on. Okay, so we got those all cut out now. We got them all sanded and we got them looking good. What we're going to do now is get our birdhouse looking form back out again. What I've done here is I've drawn a line down the middle here. That should be the center line so that the arc is exactly even on both sides. Now I've done the same thing with the plastic. I'm drawing a line down there again. You may not be able to see it super well. You might be able to see something in there once in a while. Anyway, the point is that I can put it on top of here, line up the line on the plastic and the line on the form to make a nice straight curve. If I didn't have that, I might end up going on a bit of an angle and ending up with like twists and stuff like that. And that's not going to be what we're going for in this one. What I want is a nice flat curve and not something twisty. This stuff heat forms pretty easily with a heat gun. Not quite as nicely as Warbler or Thebra, but I use it because it's way cheaper and I can get it from store just across the highway from where the shop is. One other thing to note is that this stuff off-gases some pretty nasty stuff. I forgot to wear my respirator and ended up with a pretty wicked headache from being directly above the work despite the room being pretty big and the window being open. As you can see, what they're going to do is they're going to overlap each other, probably about an inch overlap each. They're going to sit on my waist, probably about from here to about here, something like that. And I'll make another one of those with a little cutout for under my arms. I'm not entirely certain if that's accurate, but it just seems kind of right. I'm not really going for accuracy, but I am kind of trying to be armor-y. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it there for tonight. I've got some drawing to do because I got to try to figure out the next step, which is going to be the chest piece with the shoulder piece and the corresponding back piece. And we'll see you next time.